Yes, yes. Welcome to the ancient world of tabletop games. I am Agamemnon from the historical documentary Time Bandits. This is a report from a fugitive. How do you go about building a paint workstation? With skill, style, panache, detours across moon-washed courtyards and a scramble over the rooftops, if you are lucky with a sword fight thrown in, or if you are unlucky with 2 sword fights followed by an explosion. And that is a hobbyist fact, not to be confused with a hobbity fact. First breakfast is the second most important meal of the day. These Hobbyzone modular units are assembled using PVA wood glue, with a little help from cotton buds to wipe away the excess, and bracing in the form of tape. That's if you assemble them at all. The sprue holder is a piece that I left part assembled. If I have the need, I'll remove one of the dividers to make room for a large item. The plan was always to use this module as a place to stash tools, paint palettes, and a supply of scrap cardboard that is sure to come in handy. These units have thin backs to them, with the other sides being far sturdier. The thin material comes away when peeling tape off. You see the difference in the amounts here. Once I finished a few units, I'd brace newly glued modules against those sturdy constructions. Bracing with tape depends entirely on the module. The tape is only there to stop a side flapping away, and I didn't use taping all of the time. So if you are asking, what tools did you use, I can answer. A litre bottle of PVA wood glue, and for 35 construction jobs, I used half the bottle. If you are even remotely skilled, you won't use anywhere near that much. Yes, I made use of glue scrapers, though I soon switched to cotton buds for the trickier angles. I devoured kitchen roll to keep myself glue-free more than anything else. There was a 5-foot table, not as advertised in terms of width. What else? 2 types of sticky tape. It little matters what you use when it comes to tape. The damaged sections, the peel-away sections, are not going to be seen once you've assembled the whole workstation. Many of the wooden sections come linked, and though they break apart easily, you may wish to score those breaking points with a knife to aim for a cleaner break. I used a Stanley knife to trim spurs that developed after separating sections. A wooden mallet lay there on standby in the later stages of construction to add magnets to the modules. In reality, I used that to press the magnets in, no hammering required. Occasionally, I had to remove a magnet that went in the wrong way. They can slip around in your fingers at the last second. To remove a magnet, I attached an Allen key and tapped through with the mallet. The magnet stayed attached to the Allen key, and I found that was the least tricky method of fixing that problem. Be wary. Several module designs are unforgiving and won't readily allow misplaced magnets to tap through. I always applied magnets to finished modules. If you believe you possess the steely presence of mind, saintly patience, and ungodly attention to detail required to fix magnets before construction, good luck with that. Out of dozens of modules, the magnets went in solidly. Only near the end, with one module, were the holes a little too wide, and I mean by a mere shade. I glued those magnets in place using epoxy. Did I build the units correctly? Almost entirely. One of the corner unit designs has identical pieces that could be confused. I had a few corner items to build, but only lost concentration on one of them. The inner walls and outer walls are almost the same. Those outer sides contain holes for the magnets. I accidentally switched an inner wall with an outer one and noticed my blunder the next day once the glue had set. What to do? Smash the whole thing apart and start again? Too late for that. I measured where the magnet holes should go, penciled them in, and took an electric drill to the problem. But first, before I committed to an act of sheer folly, I tried a few test runs on a spare piece of material. That slightly curved diamond shape was a piece left over from the kitchen roll holder's construction. Initially, I wasn't for purchasing a kitchen roll holder. I'm glad I changed my mind, as it was one of the first pieces I assembled, and I used it constantly during construction of the other modules. No kitchen roll was actually devoured during the making of these boxes. If you can test your drill, do. Drill out the same material, and drill small, working up to the appropriate size. After a few forays, I squeezed a magnet into the test test piece. Knocking the magnet out with the Allen key, I kept drilling just to see if the next size upgrade would still allow the magnet to fit. The porridge was too hot, and I'd found the right-sized porridge earlier. With this vital serial-based information to hand, I drilled through the penciled areas on the messed-up module and pressed the magnets in without difficulty. If you mess up, don't mess up the fix. I was super cautious drilling holes and amazed myself when I didn't take out a spare kneecap or supporting wall. And you don't see the end result unless you fully remove the drawer in that one corner unit and deliberately mock my lapse of concentration. My ability to spread glue in there was not exactly what I'd call an ability. Still, I can always parade my 10 thumbs as scientific curiosities. Speaking of glue, don't use glue initially. Dry fit the modules as much as possible. In the case of the toilet roll holder, kitchen roll, the dry fit of the support for the doweling rod went too well. That ring piece snapped in and stayed in. I'd only have splintered the damn thing trying to remove it just to glue it back in place, so I left it there instead. And that is what I like to call a wise move, though you may be inclined to reference the word laziness. The unseen tool in this whole endeavour was music playing in the background. If nothing else, that gives a clue as to the passage of time, and the other unseen tool is a break. Take a break. Set up your mini factory. Go to it. Stop when the excess glue tide reaches your ankles. Leave the assembly line for an hour. Come back and move the modules to ensure they aren't sticking to the table. Clean up with a wet wipe or a damp cloth or your tongue. Don't use your tongue. Check positioning and ensure that the modules are all squared away. No awkward angles and no leaning Tower of Pisa. Leave overnight. That's the real break. Check the modules are solid, pile them out of your way, and start assembling more. There's a lot to do. Build the modules and then build a host of drawers to fit in the modules. When all is said and done, most of the drawers will fit. Those that don't are shuffled around until they find a home in which they do fit. I didn't have to fix any of the drawers, I just moved them around until true homes were found. I'll say a few words about tables. For this job I used 3 tables. In the video studio, I filmed shots of part-assembled or finished modules, and in what became the painting studio, I used the 5-foot table as an assembly platform. The 6-foot table turned into the home of the entire workstation. That business of the 5-footer being too narrow wasn't a killer. The video production table is also a 5-footer, and more importantly, is the right width for this sort of project, but disentangling the video table from the studio and moving it across the house was a bridge too far for me. In the end, deciding to go for a 6-foot table in the painting studio was a far better option. Yes, it meant more modules and more expense, but it led to more variety around the workstation. I took an error from a website at face value and bought a table online that I could have returned as not advertised. But remember the golden rule of the hobby, of any hobby. Your hobby requires storage space and is jam-packed with business that will sell you storage solutions. A table is a table. I relocated that table once the building phase was over and still had my use out of it anyway. Yes, I shudder to think of moving the video table anywhere. Right table for the job, but it was already doing its job where it sat. I've moved this video studio around several times to get it the way I want it, and I hope never to have to lug it around the houses again. What's next? Finding a suitable monitor for use in the painting studio. The camera is connected through the loft to the computer by a repeater USB cable. Beyond 5 meters, the machines don't recognize each other and pass like ships in the night, ships that lost all electrical lighting. The repeater USB cable fixes that problem and allows the computer to talk to the camera. Technical solutions are technical solutions. Even with a camera filming some aspects of model preparation, construction, and painting, I still won't be making videos about watching paint dry.